This game is tough. It takes a toll on your body, your heart, and your mind. It's an emotional roller coaster built on ice, rubber, and steel. When times are good, we rejoice. When they're not, we turn to each other. This is our team. And this is how we come together. Off the ice, outside the rink, some battles are harder to fight. The ones in our head. Alone, away from the noise, the ones that feel unwinnable. Today we'll look at how the Ottawa Senators Foundation is helping break the stigma of mental health. People and programs making a difference, right here in our city. These are the game changers.
I mean, I'd be lying to you if I said it wasn't hard. I mean, I think it's hard for everybody.
Yeah, I'm lucky to have my family right nearby. They're all still in Orleans, and so if I play a bad game, I mean, still go out to dinner with them afterwards. And even if I don't really want to, they'd take me out to dinner just to make sure I'm not in my house thinking about it by myself and beating myself up over it.
The mental health side, I mean, you see how much it affects people, in today's lives, and a big thing was just, getting the awareness out there. And I mean, hockey's just a small part of it. I
mean, as a player, not only is it your duty to be involved in the community, but I think you feel good about yourself doing it, knowing that you're able to use your status as a local celebrity, so to speak, and help out in any way you can.
It's just important to let people know that there is help for them out there.
The reality is it is just a game, and it puts things into perspective when you see, what people are going through outside of the sport.
I can't even describe the roller coaster of emotions that we felt standing beside the hospital bed when the doctor's words echoed in our ears. Your son's intention tonight was to take his life. Your son's intention tonight was to take his life. It's like, who is he talking about? I really thought he was in the wrong room. I thought maybe he had got the charts mixed up. It's like, this doesn't happen to people like us because we are a strong, loving, supporting family. But it does happen. It did happen, and it can happen to anybody.
On average, someone in Ottawa dies by suicide every single week. The people most at risk are youth. Half of all mental health problems begin by age 14, making young adulthood the best time for prevention. But knowing how to get help in our city hasn't always been easy.
Since 2012, there has really been a noticeable increase in issues related to mental health and illness in the youth population in the city. Different partners in the agency started talking in the community about gathering more services for youth to be able to meet these different needs. And something different had to be done because clearly there was a gap in service.
Mental health really wasn't a focus in the early days of the Ottawa Senators Foundation or Hockey Club, and we really followed the leadership, I'd suggest about 8 years ago, of our former captain, Daniel Alfredson. He had a very personal connection to mental health within his family and his sister, and he was one of the first people to just, in partnership with the Royal Ottawa Mental Health Hospital, just speak up and just to say, do you know who I am? I have this mental health issue within my family, and we need to start having conversations about this issue and start breaking down the stigma.
Mental health is something that everybody should be paying attention to. Mental health, mental wellness, and also mental illness. So what we've noticed that one of the frequent stats that is cited from CMHA is that 1 in 5 youth do experience some type of mental health issue at some point in their lives.
We're always looking for incredible partnership opportunities, and one of the partners that we've come across recently is the Youth Services Bureau, and specifically the Bridges program. And what this program will enable is institutions to come together to ensure that kids who are in most critical need of mental health support, who are really at that line of perhaps dying by suicide, are helped.
We didn't know what to do. We were walking on eggshells around him. Is he okay? Is he suicidal again? What's going on? If he spent too much time in the bathroom with the door locked, was he in there cutting? We were just beside ourselves. We were on high alert the whole time. We weren't sleeping. At night I would go in and make sure he was still breathing, that his skin was still warm. I was on the brink of tears the whole time. We were a mess. My husband and I were so anxious about what was going on that we were lashing out at each other. The family was falling apart. We were falling apart. We didn't know what to do. Who was going to help us? Where were we going to get help? How were we going to get help? We had no idea how to navigate the system. And it wasn't until we found out about Bridges that we felt the calmness that someone was going to step up and help our son, help our family.
Before Bridges, there were really not a lot of resources for interventions to happen. The resources weren't there to provide a solid link from hospital to community, and so often people were falling through the cracks. They didn't have the services available to them, the intensity of the services that they needed at the time that they released from hospital.
The program is literally saving lives within this community, and the thing that we were really pleased by at Hockey Club is it's not just an initiative of the Youth Services Bureau. The Royal Ottawa's involved, the Children's Hospital is involved, as is Ottawa Public Health. So it's a great partnership approach to address one of the most important needs within our community.
The Bridges program helps connect all of Ottawa's major mental health services together. It's a single resource to help people through each stage of recovery. The funding comes from local initiatives which raise money for mental health services in the city, like Do It for Darren.
The day was a very normal day for us. It was a very normal day we would have thought her too. It was a day off school, and we spent the morning as a family because Luke and Morgan were heading out of town for a hockey tournament. So the four of us, and my dad stopped over to have a visit. So nothing seemed unusual.
How are you feeling doing this?
I don't think you can lose a child and not have your marriage tested. And I think that everybody in the family is just having so much grief and coping with such a huge loss. The end result is the same when you lose a loved one to suicide. That person's gone and you're left with many unanswered questions. There's so much emotion that comes with that and trying to understand how, why, what did we do wrong, what did we miss, was there a better path? I think what was a very unique story to us, but then it's actually more common than people realize, is that Darren showed no signs and no symptoms. Her school meetings that very week, outstanding. Meeting with our hockey coaches were within 2 weeks, outstanding. And I know there's probably people who think, well, that's not plausible. That's not possible that this great, amazing, beautiful, talented girl who embraced life could die by suicide. And I agree. It doesn't make sense. It will never make sense to me, but that's factual.
The last time I saw her, she was smiling and laughing and dancing in the dressing room, so it was definitely tough to believe. Didn't feel real.
Oh, her smile, the way she could instantly flip your mood. You could be super down and she'd just come and she just knew how to make you happy, and she had this personality about herself that everyone wanted to be around her. Like, I never met a single person who didn't want to be around her. She's always so positive.
It was a lot of confusion. There was a lot of anger and grief and sadness, and it was hard to express how you were feeling because it was a situation no one had experienced before.
I didn't believe it was real. Like, I felt like I was going to walk to the locker room next day and she was just going to be sitting there, and it was surreal.
When we lost Darren, her friends at school, her teammates in sports, they wanted a change. They couldn't believe, like us, what happened, and all of a sudden somehow do it for Darren.
The Do It for Darren movement started the weekend that Darren died. Both Darren's team and my team, we put Purple Hearts on our helmets. We wrote Do It for Darren on our sticks. Her favorite color was purple, so sort of built from that. And then all of a sudden, plastic bracelets were being made, t-shirts were being made, and things were being sold. And it grew from this thing that was written on our helmets and our hockey sticks into a movement that's really changed the way that we look at mental health.
We're just trying to raise awareness, let people know, no matter what, that there's always people to talk to. You don't have to like quiet up and be by yourself, that people are here and people do want to help.
It just grew into something that I don't think anyone really expected it to grow into. It just, people started coming up and, kind of expressing that they were going through something similar and stuff like that. So it was just really, really eye-opening that other people are going through this and that it's helped other people.
It just kind of spread. And what happened was, it was a youth movement. They were going ahead with it no matter what. It was a symbol. And it was a symbol of, I guess, strength with youth and youth mental health. And what we did is just tried to be maybe a little bit of guidance and get the proper clinicians involved, to get the proper advice, to get the proper information, and to give them a little bit of guidance, because it was going no matter what.
Today, it's just, DAFD means that there's people you can talk to, As I said, like, it's okay not to be okay, that you don't have to kind of feel embarrassed or ashamed of what you're going through, that everyone's going through something different, and it's okay that you're asking for help.
It made me super proud to be doing such an amazing movement. To be part of it was amazing.
We get stories all the time that people come up to us and say, Do It for Darren has kind of changed my life. It's helped me kind of realize that it's okay not to be okay. And depression is just a flaw in chemistry. It's not a flaw in character. So it's really helpful to know that even if we're just helping one person, that we're still helping other people from not going through the things that we did.
So Darren's story is very unique and unique to us because it's our daughter, but unfortunately so many young people have suffered in silence that they've lost their lives to suicide as well without receiving any care, any help, and feeling very much alone. And I think that's what this is all about, to say nobody is immune. I'm not, you're not, and our young people deserve for us to do it better. We
wish we knew the information we knew now to, talk to Darren because she suffered in silence. And it's, you know, it's one of those things where, you know, you always paint a picture and it has to look a certain way with maybe a little bit of ugliness or something like that. That's what mental health looks like, and we want to make sure that people know that it always doesn't look like that. And we got to make sure that the conversation's there before it's too late.
I can tell you one of the hardest days of my career was sitting in the Richardsons' living room. You know, so after that meeting, I came into the executive offices and just said, like, we need to do something. We need to lend a voice to this message of youth suicide. So the Richardsons, with a bunch of youth, I guess, born Do It for Darren, DIFD, in partnership with the Royal Ottawa. And together we worked in a game night in February of 2011 to bring attention to youth suicide and just all of the issues surrounding kids in our community these days. And you know, 6 years later, I'm really proud to share that every single Canadian hockey team has a mental health evening. We've branded it Hockey Talks Mental Health, and every community does something a little bit different, but we've stayed true to our Do It for Darren DIFD passions here and have continued to inspire all kinds of conversations throughout this community and beyond on the issue of youth mental health.
Working in the field of children's mental health over the last number of years, DIFD has certainly been present and a name that has resounded in the children's mental health community. We are very fortunate at Bridges to recently have DIFD as one of the donors.
We've been incredibly lucky as well to have Belle, you know, be such a champion within, you know, our hockey club to help us with some of these mental health initiatives and lend a voice around that. But when you think about what's happening within, you know, Bell Media and just across the country, the funds that are being raised, they too have really lent a very important voice to some of the most important issues facing the mental health sector within our country.
We're so proud of what DIFD has done. Healing after losing a child and the way we lost Darren to suicide is really challenging. It's a day-to-day determination to embrace the world and everything that's good in it. And we're so blessed to be so loved and surrounded by so many wonderful people. That definitely makes that easier, but you cannot lose a child and not miss them every day.
You know, I think it's, you know, there's no satisfying moment, I don't think, in all of this process for us, like there can't be, but there is a warmth there, that to know that there's been people that have gone through something, and hopefully about speaking out and talking about it, raising more awareness is helped people. And people have told us that, and that is a warm feeling. And you know, sometimes we do get a little selfish, and we were like, we wish someone did that for us. But then you go right back to feeling warm that you've helped someone else.
Asking for help will always be hard, but in our city, finding someone to talk to is only getting easier. People who have been there, people who wish they could go back but can't, people who have lost but refuse to give up. Game changers.
It's your duty. I mean, if you notice something as a friend or family member or teammate, you notice someone's coping with something with a little bit of difficulty, to maybe extend your arm and try to help them out a little bit.
A lot of cities don't really have that. You're kind of on your own, and that's when things get worse.
People are suffering each and every day. I mean, you know, the mental health, the depression and stuff like that. And I mean, we want people to know that we're supporting them and we're behind them every step of the way. And I mean, there's always help out there for someone. It's just a matter of asking once you find the courage.
So I honestly have to say that Bridges saved our son, saved our family. Without Bridges, I don't even want to imagine what would have happened if Bridges wasn't available to give us the support that they did give us. Our son's doing well. He's doing extremely well. He graduated from high school with honors, and he's now attending Ryerson University in a program that he absolutely loves. So January 12th 2014 was the darkest day in our life. But I don't look at it as that dark day anymore. I look at it as a very bright day. I look at it as a gift. Because that was the day that our son no longer had to carry the burden of his depression alone. That's the day where our son received the help that he needed.